Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for coming. We're absolutely thrilled to have you all here. My name is Dara. I am one of the co-founders of Uni alongside Nathan. And look, we're delighted to be hosting this webinar tonight with you and with Irene Doyle, who will be answering your questions on the CAO. Now, how we're going to run tonight's webinar, it's going to be very, very simple. I'm introducing it. Thereafter, we're going to get straight into Irene's presentation, where she might answer some of the questions you already have. And thereafter, we'll have a live Q&A where she'll answer the questions that you can pop into the Q&A chat. Thereafter, Nathan is going to run through a little bit about Uni and how we can actually help you with your CEO decision this year. Now, it is worth staying to the very end, because after running through the software, we're going to be giving away over €100 worth of prizes to 2 lucky people who stay to the end in the webinar. And we're also going to be giving all of you a discount code that you can all use for Uni's course recommendation software. Now, I'm not going to go through in too much detail what Uni does. I assume that a lot of you already know, and Nathan is going to run through it a little bit at the very end. But in a sense, we are Ireland's newest career guidance platform. We aim to help students get into the right college course through technology and through accessible guidance tools. Now, primarily, our main offering is our Uni Fit, which is the assessment technology that allows students to get recommended college courses from across the country. But more on that later. Without further ado, I want to bring Irene in. She will talk through everything there is to know about CEO, answer all of your questions, and I am delighted to have her on tonight. Thank you, Irene, so much for coming, and I will leave it to you.
No problem, Dara. Thanks very much for inviting me to speak tonight. What I'm going to talk about tonight, I have put together a brief presentation for the students looking in tonight that will answer a lot of the questions that have come into Uni over the last number of days and particular number of weeks. So I'm going to share the presentation with you now. Just bring it up there. So over the last number of days in particular, a lot of students have contacted Uni and they've been asking for career advice in relation to CAO application. So the first slide, it's something that I felt that students and parents should consider when choosing a course. So the first thing is, who is looking in tonight? Who is in the event that has a spare 7,000 to 10,000 that they don't really need? The reason we ask this question is that is the financial applications or the financial consequences that if a student chooses the wrong course, they end up having to pay the tuition fees for the next course that they go into, and there can be a loss of grant. So say, for instance, if a student goes into a course, they decide after December they don't like it and they leave. When they drop out of that course, the parent or guardian or the student has to pay the tuition fees of that course for the first semester when a student rejoins another course. They also are at a loss of the 3rd level grant for the first semester, and as a result, the parent or guardian has to pay for that. So a lot of the time, a lot of adults would say to me, oh, I met such and such and they've dropped out of course and I don't understand why they haven't rejoined another course. Generally speaking, a lot of the time is because the student can't afford to get themselves back into college because of the financial implications of having dropped out. This is a slide that I have taken from CAO, and a lot of the time parents think to themselves, well, my son or daughter is getting guidance in school, they know what they want to apply for, what really is my role in this? So in relation to the parents and guardians looking in tonight, you can help your son or daughter by researching the choices with them. Your son or daughter might say to you that they want to be a fashion designer. But if they want to be a fashion designer, really you should look to see, Do they have good design skills, as in art and drawing? Have they good sewing skills? So you know them the best. So your role as the parent guardian is really to help them research the courses in terms of looking at course content. The other role really is encourage your child to apply early. So the closing date for initial application to CAO is the 1st of February. And then it's really important, I know this is stressed in the media an awful lot, it's vital important that your child lists their courses in genuine order of preference, with their first choice, the one that they really, really want, being number 1. Obviously, the initial deadline is the 1st of February. And then one vital piece of information is CAO are no longer at the moment, because of COVID this year and last year, they're no longer sending out postal information to students. So it's of vital importance that you get your son or daughter to check their emails for notifications coming from the CAO, especially in May. Because if that's not done, they could lose out on an offer later in August or September, whenever the actual dates are released for when those offers are going to come out. Again, another piece that I have found, I have worked in guidance for 15 years, and another piece of information that I find that's vital for parents is that you are present on the day that your son or daughter is going to accept their CAO offer. If they are made 2 offers, an offer say for level 6, 7 and an offer for level 8, it is of vital importance that you're there to consult with them and guide them as to what to accept. On occasion, I have come across the experience of sometimes where the student rushes in and they're so excited that they've been made 2 offers, they end up accepting the wrong one. And there's huge consequences for that, and when you're trying to contact the CAO. This is the National Framework of Qualifications. So all students looking in tonight, you should be aware of what this is. And the reason I'm putting it up for parents is to show you that if your son or daughter is applying to the CAO, if they're currently in 6th year at the moment, which means that they're at the NFQ level 5, VTAC level 5. If they go for a post-leaving cert course, they're still at VTAC level 5. And for post-leaving cert courses, you apply directly to the colleges. For the CAO, a level 6 is a higher certificate, and that's 2 years in college. A level 7 is an ordinary degree, and a level 8 is an honours degree. So the ordinary degree is 3 years in college, and the honours degree is 4 years in college. There are a few honours degrees that are 3 years, but generally speaking, it's 4 years. So if your son or daughter enters into a level 8 course on the CAO and decides after 1, 2 or 3 years to leave, they don't exit with any certification. And again, you're into the financial implications of having to choose a new course, but you then have to pay for years 2, possibly 1, 2 or 3. If they enter a level 6 course and after the 2 years when they're exiting, they get a certificate. But if they really like the course and they want to continue, all they have to do is stay in college for another 2 years, and they can come out with the same qualification that the students have entered from the level 8. The level 6 student can still come out with the same qualification. In relation to the CAO application itself, a lot of students are stressed and think, oh, I need to know what courses I need to enter by the 1st of February. This isn't the case at all. So what I'm saying to the students looking in tonight is, please don't see this as a stressful situation. The CAO wants you to fill in your general details to open up your application and to start the process. You do not need to know exactly what you want to do in terms of course choice or career choice until the 1st of July. So you could have a blank application like this, just showing your personal details, but you don't need to have any level 8 or any level 6s entered at present, unless if you're applying for a restricted course, you do have to have the restricted courses in by the 1st of February. But there are only 61 restricted courses out of the 1,600 CAO courses. So out of the rest of those, you don't have to have them filled in, and you have until the 1st of July to make as many changes to your application as possible. So please, sit back a little bit. I've been contacted in the last couple of days by students saying, oh, I need to know what I'm applying for. And that's not the case at all. You have until the 1st of July. Now, in relation to entering your options, this is the way I have explained it to students over the years. 99% of students would have filled out their Santa list or their Christmas list over the years when they were younger. And I have said to students, think of your CAO like this, whereby what did you really want to get from Santa or get from your parents? So what did you want? I guarantee you wrote that down as option 1 on your list. So you need to think your CAO as exactly the same. Whatever you really want, list that down as option 1. Then what your second option, put it down as number 2, third. Your CAO options have to be listed based on the course content. You cannot take into consideration CAO points, and I'll explain that to you now in a few minutes. The CAO points, just to say to you, have to be taken out of the equation at this point. And this is why CAO give you 20 options. So you've 10 options for level 8 and 10 options for level 6 and 7. And they have to be entered based on course modules of your preference to those courses. And the reason I'm suggesting to you not to be, stressing about points at the moment is that the points go up and they go down, and you might get in on lower points through access routes, such as the HERE scheme or the DARE scheme. So just to say to you, the HERE scheme is the higher education access route into college, and the DARE scheme is the disability access route into college that lets students access third level courses on lower CAO points. Now, in relation to the course choices, this is a sample again taken from CAO. The reason I have put this one up is because this is to show you what your son or daughter's option list can look like if they have only entered level 8 courses. Now, this is a huge mistake if the CAO application looks like this, because down here you can see that no options have been entered. Students generally, there is something on the level 6 or 7 courses that you will find that you can enter in as backup routes, backup options. So if you don't have anything entered for level 6, 7, it's like literally giving a key away to somebody and losing something. It's a missed opportunity. And in relation to level 6 and 7, level 6 can be seen as a stepping stone up into honours degree courses. And remember, if you step into a level 6, 7 course, if you don't like it, you can exit with certification. The next thing is, again, it's to show you this is a complete application of what the level 8 and the level 6, 7 look like. Now again, CAO have this on their demo application site, and this is a really good example for parents to see. And this is where you as the parent or guardian and you as the student need to really sit down and review this with either your school's guidance counsellor or a parent and guardian. This is an example that CAO have given of where a student is very confused and doesn't know what they want to do. And sometimes parents and guardians don't realise that their son or daughter has put certain courses on their CAO until it's too late. So what I'm saying is, when you see that something like this, accountancy, horticulture, accountancy again, food science and health, down to history, down to culinary arts, retail management, this is a student who really hasn't a clue what they want to do, and that's where they need guidance. Versus, this is an example of what your son or daughter's CAO should look like. I have taken this example from UCD. you can see from the application that this student is genuinely interested in computers and computer engineering. Now, when you're looking at this application, basically the contents of the application and the contents of the courses within the application should have very similar modules for the student to do a course. Now, I know some people looking in would say, yeah, but that person wants to do all computers, and over here there's engineering. Now, this is what's really important about looking at course content. This student is genuinely interested in computers, but if you look at the course content of engineering in UCD, there is a huge element of computer engineering in that course, and this is why that is listed there for the student. So if the student, when it comes to offers, if the student got up on the morning of CAO and was offered number 1 here from level 6, 7, and number 1 here from the level 8, this is where the parent or guardian really should be with the student and discuss which one do they accept. You can only accept one, okay? So if the student accepted computer science, it means that this offer here is now gone, and all these offers down here are gone. They're deleted from the system and put back into the system by the CAO for other students. Even though it's not the first preference course for the student here at level 8, the CAO know that because you have ranked your preferences or your courses in order of preference, they know that this is what you really want, like going back to the Christmas list. So they wait to see, has any student deferred, has any student decided not to take up their place, and that is where in round 2 potentially you could be made an offer of the engineering. But what I would say to you is, not that many students are actually made a second round offer. So it's really important that whatever you list down and whatever you're offered, you do accept that offer, and it's there because you're genuinely interested in it. Now, another point that I come across a lot of the time with students, and very often sometimes it's too late, is when students are looking at their courses, they don't consult with the CAO points enough, whereby you need to know what are the points for each of the different sections. Say, for instance, if a student is struggling with a subject and they think, oh, I think I'll just drop down to ordinary level and focus at other subjects. It is quite difficult to get the equivalent of an O1, which is the old A grade in an ordinary level subject, in an ordinary level. So it is quite difficult. And if you look at if you stay with the honours, you still get the same number of points for a H5. So what I am saying is, think before you decide to drop down to the ordinary level. Consult with your subject teachers, consult with your school, consult with your guidance counsellor, and tell them what is it that you're finding difficult about subjects before you drop. Because a lot of the time when students do drop down a level, they don't get the O1, they actually get the O2, so they're dropping even further in terms of CAO points. In relation to the calculation of points, CAO points, as you probably know, are based on the top 6 scores, grades and scores within your Leaving Cert. So as you can see here, this student hasn't calculated Irish ordinary level into their grades because they performed better in other subjects. Now, this is a really important slide. In relation to college applications, every year and over the last couple of days at uni, I've been contacted and I've been asked, what do you think the points will be for such and such a course? Now, this is an explanation to you for how the point system works. In order to get into this college here, so this is at Lone Institute of Technology that I have taken a sample from, and this page has been taken from the IGC, the Institute of Guidance Counsellors Directory of Entrance Requirements. And this is an example of what's known to students as matriculation. Sometimes students hear the word but they don't understand what it means. Matriculation means that students have to meet the minimum entrance requirements in order to get into a third level college. Now, generally speaking, what students aren't aware of is most third level colleges just require you to have 2 H5s and 4 O6s or 4 O7s in order to gain entry. If you actually add those up for the 2 H5s and the 4 O6s, that actually equates to 160 points. So technically speaking, to gain entry to college for a level 8 and the majority of courses, you only need 160 points. However, if you look at the points here, the points are much higher, and the reason the points are much higher is because of the demand in order to get into the college courses. So basically, when students say, well, what do you think the points will be? Students don't know, no guidance counsellor knows, the CAO don't know what students have put on their CAO application until the application deadline closes on the 1st of July. So it's based on demand. So you can see here, one year the points could go really high for a particular course that might have had a lot of advertising, that, you know, the economy, something might have happened in the economy and people say, oh, that'd be a great area to go into. So suddenly a lot more people want to apply for that course and the points go up. Again, there might be a downturn in a particular area and people go, no, I'm not going to apply for that. That happened with construction courses a couple of years and the points went right down. So really the points are completely based on demand. And that's why I've put the picture here of the shopping cart. I need students to start thinking about CAO like, you know, goods that people want to buy. What is the most popular phone people want to buy? If with the most popular phone, the prices go up. So college courses are the same. So technically speaking, really you should only need 160 CAO points to get in to a level 8 or 60 CAO points to get into a level 7 course here, 6, 7. But that's not the way it works because of the demand for places. The other thing that you need to be aware of is that here we have advertised, so every college has a minimum entrance requirements, not only for matriculation for the number of subjects that you need to get in, but also what level of English or Irish do you need and what level of maths, and then what science subject. So you have to meet the number of subjects, then have particular subjects and grades in those subjects, and then sometimes particular science or language subjects. And then after that, the points is based on demand. Now, some students who gain entry into college through access routes, they get in on much lower points. And you can see that sometimes students could gain entry on these. And that's why it's imperative that students disregard the points when filling out CAO, because, you know, the points mightn't be 500. It might be minimum entrance requirements to get in. In relation to the courses, again, this is something that I've been asked over the last couple of days, and you would have seen that I put up a post recently on our Uni Facebook page in relation to access to radiography. So if you're looking for the backdoor routes into radiography, please refer to our Facebook page for that, where I've put up a post. In relation to, say, physiotherapy, this is an example of why, when you're filling out your CAO, of how you should put down as many options as possible to allow you access. So as you can see here, entrance to physiotherapy, there are 4 main colleges in Ireland. The average points to get in are 566 points. However, if you look down here, there are other alternative routes into the course. And what I'm suggesting to you is, if there's a particular course in a college that you really want to get into, contact the admissions department of the college, or speak to your guidance counsellor, or contact the head of the department for that particular course and ask, what postgraduate courses do you do in that area, or what alternative options do I have in order to get into that area? Now, In relation to, say, physio, a student could do health and physical activity, or sports and rehabilitation and athletic therapy, or athletic therapy and training in Dublin City University. A lot of the time students will just put in, the physiotherapy on their course, on their, options, and nothing else. So please make sure to look at the backdoor routes. Also, if you look over here on the level 6-7, there's a level 6 course in physiotherapy offered by Letterkenny Institute of Technology. That's the last person who got into that course entered this year on 456 CAO points. And again, remember, the points for all of these courses could be a lot lower for here and there applicants. 3 years ago, I went to a talk in the Royal College of Surgeons, and I couldn't believe it when the admissions officer there spoke to us about, I'll be honest, I can't remember whether it's here or there, but they didn't have an application from not one person to enter physiotherapy under one of these access routes. And as a result, that place was left vacant. Which would have been the 2 H's and the 4 O's and 6's, that student would have got in, whoever would have applied. So then in relation to the options, as I say here, it's of vital importance that you look at the level 6 and 7. Now, for anybody looking at this course in Letterkenny, it is 2 years in Letterkenny, and then it's 2 years in Coventry. But if you live outside of Dublin, and you then have to go to Dublin to go to college and pay for your college accommodation, the college fees in Coventry in the UK, to be honest, I've sat down and worked it out, it is the equivalent, if not less, than actually going to some of the college courses in Dublin in terms of accommodation costs. So look at all options to keep your options open. And another area then that you might be aware of is you really should be looking at the pre-university physio courses and all pre-university courses in the PLC and colleges of further education. Simon Harris released about 2 weeks ago that there's an extra 50,000 places being released at the moment for the current Leaving Cert students and in the colleges of further education and in the PLCs, and for anybody who wants to go, including mature students. So it's really vital important to look at the colleges of further education and where you can go from that. So if a student went and did a pre-university physiotherapy course, then they can use it as a stepping stone to get into these courses here, and then they can do a postgrad in physiotherapy and come out as qualified in the area that they wanted. Another area that I've been contacted a lot about is I want to apply for medicine, but I don't know what else I should put on my application. Now, one thing that I have found in guidance over the last number of years is a lot of students who want to apply for medicine, they put medicine down on their application, but then they end up putting science down here, and sometimes science isn't the best option. And when I ask them, well, why are you entering science? And they'll say, because I want to do the postgraduate course in medicine. But what I advise the students is, rather than doing general science or, say biomedical science, etc., and a lot of the time general science students can end up working, working in lab work and it's away from people. I would say to them, put down courses like podiatry, put down courses like radiation therapy, paramedic studies, radiography, nursing, occupational therapy, dietetics, because they're in the hospital environment. And when they're in the hospital environment, they're interacting with the doctors, they're getting a great insight into do they actually want to do medicine. And then if they don't gain entry into the postgraduate course, at least they're qualified in an area of healthcare sector, in a hospital-based employment sector that they can then work in. So a lot of the time students who want to gain entry into the postgraduate course in medicine, they end up having an undergrad course in, say general science, and then they're stuck going, oh my God, what am I going to do with this degree? Because actually it's not an area I'm really interested in. So it's really important to look at your other options. Again, for a student who's applying for medicine, you need to have level 6 or 7 options. So this again is another example of, I just picked it out because it was low points to show you that there is a backdoor route into everything. So this is the certificate in science in Sligo IT, 209 points. Another one is biomedical science, 262 points. So again, it's vital, even if you're applying for the high points courses, that you apply for other, level 6, 7 courses. Now, a lot of the time when students are filling out their CAO, they don't realize that when they're filling them out and they say, oh, I'll put that down because then I'll do the postgraduate route. A lot of the time they haven't researched the postgraduate fees. So this is why I'm bringing this up this evening. If a student is thinking of doing medicine, and the reason I've suggested listing these areas is because if they're not in a position, which to be honest, most people wouldn't be, that they would have €67,880 to pay for access to the postgraduate course, at least you would have a qualification in an area that you should be interested in. Most people don't have that type of money. So what they do is Bank of Ireland have a graduate entry medicine tuition fee loan that the students can apply for. Another area then is for the postgrad and physio. A lot of students will say, well, I'll do maybe, health and physical activity, etc., and then I'll do the postgrad. But again, a postgrad in physio is 33,000, okay? And again, if you're looking at 16,000 a year for fees, you really should take the postgraduate routes into consideration when you're listing your options, because in 4 years' time, you might decide when you come out of those courses that actually I don't want to take out a loan. Now, another area that I'm constantly being contacted about is in relation to access to primary school teaching. And students will say to me, well, what should I put down? What course would be the best to put down for primary school teaching if I don't get into direct access? So a lot of students, they're aware of the postgrad, the 2-year postgrad in Hibernia College, but again, they're not aware of the cost. So the cost is €14,050 for the 2-year postgrad in Hibernia, and in Marino Institute, it's 11,500. So this is just an example of 2 of the colleges that offer the postgrad. Now, again, primary school teaching is one of those areas that a lot of students will say, oh, I will do an undergrad maybe in arts. I will do, particular subjects. Maybe I'll do Irish with something else in order then to get into the postgrad. Entry to postgraduate study is dependent on aptitude tests, assessment tests, interviews, etc. And say, for instance, for primary school Irish, part of the interview is in Irish, and a lot of students are very upset when they don't get called, they don't get onto the course, and then they're left with an undergrad degree going, what am I going to do with this degree? They might have something that they just did the degree for the sake of it with a view to getting into postgraduate, into their ideal area in postgraduate studies. So be really careful what you're listing as your undergrad. Just to say to you, for anybody going for primary school teaching, and if you think you won't get the points, if you were in a position to go for the postgraduate course, what I would say to you is when applicants are applying, they only need a level 8 degree in anything, okay? So you could have a level 8 degree in law, computer science, in music, in sport, etc. And when principals and school management, schools boards management are looking at students or applicants coming in who have done the postgrad, they love to see somebody who's coming in with skills such as IT skills, computer science and law, etc. Because there's a lot of policies, legal policies within schools, and then there's, they need an IT coordinator. So for somebody to come in with an undergrad degree in that area, they love to see that sort of applicant coming in who has specialist skills that maybe their teachers on the rest of their staff don't have. So again, if you're looking at primary school teaching, maybe take it into consideration of what am I interested in after primary school teaching if I don't get the direct points. In relation to business studies, I put up this post a couple of weeks ago because I was getting an awful lot of queries in relation to business. A lot of students just enter business on their CAO, but they don't review the course content. Business courses on CAO might have a title business, but the course content for most business courses is very, very different. One might specialize in insurance, another might specialize in marketing, another might specialize in computers with business. So it's of vital importance that you look at the course content and choose your business course based on the main modules that you are interested in that area. So again, just to summarize for you here, how do you choose a course on your CAO? Again, take the points out of it. You've got 20 options to fill in. So choose your course based on course content, genuine interest in the modules. Look at your academic ability. Say, for instance, if you were going for a business course, you've no business studies from the Leaving Cert, you haven't done economics, you've never done accountancy, maybe then have a look at a level 6 business course. And then, as I explained already, you can graduate from the level 6 into, go into the level 8 and graduate at the same time as everybody else. Again, in relation to academic ability, if you're going into something like computers, if you're not great at honours maths, maybe again look at the level 6 or a level 7 course in it. And again, look at your personality type. Now, the Uni Fit Assessment looks at all of this. It looks at your academics, it looks at your interest. So if you haven't done the Uni Fit Assessment on the Uni website, we would suggest that you do that in the next couple of weeks. Again, just to stress to you, when you're looking at a course, how do I know I'd like it? You've got to be interested in a minimum of 75% of the modules within that course. Otherwise, you could end up dropping out of the course. If you don't choose a course with interest in 75% modules, when it's raining some morning and you're meant to be going to college, when we get out of this virtual world and everybody's out and about again, you'll think, oh, I don't really like that lecture, I won't go in. But that's going to have huge implications on the type of degree, the awards that you will come out with. Will you come out with a pass degree, a 2-2 or a 2-1? Again, this is something that I would often say to students, be very aware of marketing pitfalls. For instance, students, when they see a course in computer games development, they say, oh, I love playing computer games, I'm going to apply for that. But again, this is where the parents or guardians come in, looking at the course in detail with the student. Computer games development is mainly maths, algorithms, data structures, computer architecture, and operating systems. That is very different to advertising courses, computer games development. So there's quite a high dropout rate in both the area of computers and construction and engineering. Now, the reason there's quite a high dropout rate in construction courses, and there has been all the time, is because a lot of the time students don't research the course enough. If you are a hands-on practical student who loves construction studies for the Leaving Cert and you loved it for the Junior Cert, you apply for construction course, not construction management. Any course that has management in it has finance, economics. So again, you can see here, construction management is financial management for construction, estimating, tendering, measurement, economics. This is very different to being in the woodwork room doing hands-on practical construction. There are courses like that on the CAO, but you need to apply for construction rather than construction management. Now, another area that I want to highlight to you this evening is when you start college. So you've got your application filled out, you enter your choices. I would advise you to find out from the admissions office, what is the date that I need to be aware of if I don't like the course and I want to leave the course. Now, normally this is 7 weeks from the date of registration. The reason I am saying this, if you know what the dropout date is, if you drop out before that particular date, you don't lose any fees, okay? So you can start another course the following year with no loss of fees. You don't have to pay. Also, if you're eligible for the SUSI grant, you don't lose your grant. So it gives you, you've got a number of weeks to try out the course. If you don't like it and you leave the course before that certain date, then there's no problem. You have options the following year. Again, statistics indicate that 1 in 6 students drop out every year. And this is really important. You don't want to be that student who's 1 in 6. As I said, common areas that students drop out are, computer science, engineering, and construction. Now, in relation to engineering, be very careful. You need to review the course content. There are 17, as far as I know, different disciplines within engineering. If you're hands-on practical and you don't like the general sciences, go for something like precision engineering. If you love science, go for undenominated common entry to engineering. And this is where students, a lot of time, they don't realize that you might have to do physics, chemistry, biology in undenominated first year engineering. And then it's only in second year that you get into maybe mechanical engineering, structural engineering, etc. So this is why there's quite a high dropout rate in that. Also, when you join college, try to join a mentoring program. If you're struggling, mentoring program, just to say to you, is like the buddy system within the secondary school system. If you're struggling with a course, you can go to your buddy, your mentor, you can explain to them difficulties you're having, and then from that, they will advise you of what to do. Maybe they might have had difficulty themselves, or they could put you in contact with somebody else who might be able to help you. So in relation to restricted courses, as I've said, on the Uni Facebook page, we've posted up the 61 restricted courses, and it's vital that you list whatever restricted course out of the 1,600 before the 1st of February. You can list it thinking, oh, I don't know, do I want it, do I not? List it. If you don't want it, that's no problem. You can take it off anytime you want, but you can't add it back in after the 1st of February. Now, the reason I've put up this slide is because a lot of the time students choose colleges and courses based on, maybe a social life in a particular area. So it's of vital importance to, ask your son or daughter or the students listening in, why do you want to go to a particular location? The other thing is, I've put this up, it's from a website of a shopping channel. Some of you might recognize it. And I've put this up for students myself in the past that I used to teach. A lot of the time students will be online and they will see a product, a dress or something that they like, and they have an image in their mind of what they want and what they think a product is. But then the product arrives and the reality is very, very different. So the reason I'm putting this up is sometimes students have an idea in their head of what a college would be like. And then when the reality is when they get to that college, and they see the physical structure of the college and they meet the people and they think, oh, this isn't really what it was like, what it was advertised. So what I'm suggesting to you is there has never been a year like this whereby the colleges have done so many online seminars. They are giving access to students to go and talk to all of their students online. Now is the opportunity for you to link in with the students studying those courses. You have over the next number of months to do that. And again, just to say to you, once we're out of lockdown and you can travel, I would recommend that you drive to the particular colleges that's listed, the top 3 colleges on your course choices, so that you can physically see the structures of the college, the built environment. Because again, you've got to look at your personality. How would you fit into that college when you're choosing college courses? And finally, just to say to you, it's important that you're aware of when you're looking at courses, trying to find a course that has built-in relevant work experience. And on top of built-in relevant work experience, employers love to see students who have come from an Erasmus program. Built-in relevant work experience shows that you have been in a course, gone and got the work experience, enjoyed it, stayed in the course, and have graduated and know what the job is like. Erasmus means that you have gone to college abroad, you have taken part in a program, you've traveled independently, you have lived independently, and obviously now you're more mature candidate in order for them to employ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over now to back to Dara, and that's my presentation finished. And if you've any questions, no problem, you can ask me.
Thanks a million, Irene. So this is Nathan here this time. Hi, everyone.
Okay, sorry, Nathan.
I'm the other founder of Uni along with Dara. Come here, Irene, thanks so much. That was fantastic. So in-depth, there's covered so much there, so I'm sure everyone will find that really, really valuable. Like there's been tons of questions coming in. As we said a while ago, any questions, people were able to pop them into Q&A, so we have a lot to come through. I'm sure as Irene went through her presentation, a lot of them were probably answered. But what we'll do is we'll kick things off. I'm going to look through the questions and we'll put them up to Irene, and then we can see where we go from there. So just looking here, there's a lot to come through. Okay, there's a question here from Mela. If you were offered your second choice and you accept it in the CAO, does that hinder your chance of being offered your first choice in round 2?
No. You can go up the ladder in terms of choices, but you can't go down. So she accepts. What I would say is once you are offered your option of number 2, accept it, because you mightn't be made an offer in the second round for your first preference. So again, this is where it's of vital importance that she would list those courses in order of preference based on course content.
Perfect. I'm going to jump in here and ask another question that was sent in, and it probably resonates with a lot of students. What do you do if you have no idea what you want to do?
Okay, well, that's one of the reasons Uni has been set up, because Uni have obviously created the Uni Fit, and my advice to that student would be go online, do the Uni Fit assessment. It looks at, there's a career interest inventory, there's a personality assessment, and there is the academic fit. If you find that, you know, the results don't match what you were thinking and you were hoping, what I would do is then email me at ask@uni.ie, and I will then help you through the process. But my first protocol would be do the Uni Fit career interest assessment, and then link in with me through Ask Uni.
Thanks, Irene. Fantastic. And look, it's just worth saying after this, we will give a quick brief thing just about how students can actually access the Uni Fit, how they can come through the website and what you actually get in the results. Okay, there's a question here from Maureen. Any idea what the points for the Bachelor of Science in Exercise and Health and Fitness Management in UL will be, seeing as it's a new course? So again, if there's a new course being introduced, how can somebody gauge where those points could possibly be?
Again, as I showed on the presentation there are minimum entrance requirements as known as matriculation in order to get into the third level sector. So UL have listed those minimum entrance requirements in terms of the number of honours and the number of ordinary level subjects. So really it depends on the number of candidates that apply for that course. So say for instance, if UL say that there's only 10 places in that course and 100 people apply, the allocation of places will be based on the first top 10 candidates. Well, actually probably the first 9 top candidates out of the 100. Based on CAO points, and UL will probably have allocated at least one place for a here or there candidate entering into that program as well. So again, you know, it's all down to popularity based on demand. So nobody can dictate the points. It depends on how many students want to do that course.
Fantastic. Quillen here asks a good question. She says, what would you recommend to a student who's interested in more than one area, but they're completely different? For example, science and arts.
Okay. There's a huge difference there. To be honest, if they're interested in science versus arts, that's a huge disparity in terms of interests. That's where they're actually interested in one area more so than the other. And that's where, again, they really should be doing a career interest inventory. Or sit down, and this is where, when I was going through the presentation, a student might think that they're genuinely interested in arts or genuinely interested in science, but it's only when they go onto the college websites and look at in-depth the course content, students a lot of the time only look at the titles of the modules, but if they go on to the college websites, they can actually see the breakdown of the modules within that. So they will know if they're looking at science, what actual modules within that science program. That's where I was emphasizing when they sit down, and they should be interested in 75% of the course content. So they say they're interested in arts and science, but to be honest, when they actually sit down and do an analysis, they'll find that they're interested more in one than in the other.
Brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop between, we're getting a couple of live questions. We did have some questions sent in beforehand by email, so I'm going to jump over to one or two of them. There's one that's come in actually twice on two occasions. Students asking about backdoor routes into radiography. Would you have any ideas in that sense, Irene?
Yeah, okay. Like the medicine and the physiotherapy, UCD offer the postgraduate course in radiography, and for that course they need to do an undergrad degree relevant in an area of science. So that could be general science, it can be nursing, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, etc. As is showed, with the course in Sligo IT, they could start off, they could do that course in Sligo IT at 206 points, graduate with that, but then they have to go through an assessment procedure in order to get into the graduate program in radiography. Now, outside of Ireland, there is an outstanding new course that has been introduced in radiography in a college called AECC in Bournemouth in the south in the UK. It only takes students 3 years to graduate from that course, and a student can actually apply for a student loan. They don't have to pay it back until after they've graduated in terms of the fees. If I was recommending to a student, go to Ireland, do the undergrad in science and then the postgrad, or go to England, I would advise England. And AECC are very open to Irish students coming over. They love to see them coming over, but they've launched this new course and they are very helpful college.
God bless your encyclopedic knowledge, Irene. Anya also emailed in a question earlier on. She says she's in 5th year. She didn't choose a language for her Leaving Cert subjects. Now, she said, I know now that I need a language to do lots of courses. What options do I have?
Okay. I'm assuming that she did a language for the junior cert. Okay. If she did a language for the junior cert, then all she has to do is she can still sit the language for the Leaving Cert, but she has to go to the exams coordinator in her school and tell them that she is now going to do a language outside of school on her own time. And when it comes to, there's a particular form that you have to fill in for sitting subjects for the Leaving Cert. And when it comes to that form, she will be meeting with that exams coordinator, and on that form, she will list her additional subject. Now, a lot of students will find themselves in this predicament whereby they will say, I haven't got the language, but they do the language on their own outside of school, just with a view to passing the language, not to get great points, just in a view like that. She could do it at ordinary level, just to pass it, to meet the entrance requirements to get into college.
Brilliant. So we have a question here from Aoife. I think this will resonate with any students who have an interest in studying medicine. So what Aoife is saying is she's putting down medicine as her first 4 options. I don't know what to put down after that. I'm interested in nutrition. However, I don't want to end up working in a lab. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's why, hopefully if it was looking at the slides there, I was explaining that, something like podiatry, which is, I know it's working with people's feet, etc., but if you actually look at the course content, it's actually training you to be a surgeon. And you're looking at a lot of like the general science, the study of the human body. She should also look at nursing, occupational therapy, look at the other health sciences courses. And as I say, I would feel that students are better off looking at those general health science rather than, as Aoife said, she doesn't want to work in a lab, rather than going for general science. A number of students have done general nursing and then they have gained entry into the postgrad in medicine after doing general nursing.
Great. Just to let people know, there's a lot of questions coming in about the Uni Fit. Nathan will answer them in just a few minutes as well in his presentation. Paul asks a good question here. She says, if you decide to change your mind in some of the courses in your CAO form, Can you change your mind after the 1st of February? And can you reorder those choices from the original application?
Yeah. One thing about the CAO, there's a lot in the media in relation to, get your CAO in, close date is the 1st of February. I need to stress to students, you have enough on your mind trying to study for your Leaving Cert at the moment. The only thing you should be concerned about at the moment is making the application, getting your name and address, etc. in. But you can, as I showed in the example there, you can leave your application blank. You have, except for those that want to apply for one of those 61 restricted courses that we've advertised on the Uni Facebook page. So if you don't want to apply for one of those, then you have from after the 5th of February right up to the 1st of July. And there are different times within that time frame that you can't go onto the CAO. But basically, don't be stressed about it. You can make your changes as many times as you want and reorder your preferences right up to the 1st of July.
Brilliant. Perfect. I'm looking here. There's another question coming through. It is worth saying, guys, anybody who's here at the end, we're taking those email addresses. We'll be sending out a recording of Irene's presentation. So there's a lot of detail in there. So you'll be able to actually look back and look through those slides and all that if there's any specific bits. So this is another question. So apologies for my pronunciation of this word, but there's a student here saying, if I take the International Baccalaureate, I think it's the word, how do I submit my grades to the CAO?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've never dealt with an IB student. As far as I know, when you're entering your exam number on your application, CAO do link with you. Now, I do know for A-level students that A-level students need to submit their grades themselves. So for the IB exam, potentially it's the same, but that's an interesting question. I'd have to look that up myself because I've never dealt with an IB student.
Perfect. And it's worth noting as well, guys, there's absolutely loads of questions in here. If we don't get to it now, you can email Irene at askuni.ie after, and we'll get back to you with an answer just in case we don't answer it live. Now, there's a question coming in here, and I think would resonate with more or less everyone on this call. What advice would you have for any Leaving Cert who stress about whether the Leaving Cert is going to go ahead or not?
Okay. One thing that I would say to students is, regardless of whether the Leaving Cert, the written exams go ahead or not, you're in a position of whether you're going to go for calculated grades or predicted grades or written exam. At the end of the day, you still have to put in the work in order to get a result in some case. So what I would say to you is, you've no control over what's happening at the moment to do with the pandemic. So the only control you have over at the moment is what sort of grade is your teacher going to give you through the work that you're submitting to them in terms of, if you're going for a predicted grade or calculated grade or general Leaving Cert. So the main thing is try to focus on what you're studying, because what a lot of students don't realize is what they're covering in their course content at the moment, they have to carry that knowledge with them into the third level sector. My daughter sat the Leaving Cert last year, and if she hadn't, under the calculated grade system, but if she hadn't finished her course, for the course that she is in now, she would probably have quite, a lot of difficulty understanding some of the course content of what she's learning. So what I'm saying is, stay focused on what you're studying, because you need to bring that knowledge with you to third level. So is that okay?
That's great. Thanks, Irene. There's a question here came in from Aisling about restricted courses. So Aisling saying, if you put a restricted course as your first choice before the 1st of February, can you move this to second or third place after the 1st of February?
Yes. Yeah, as long as it's there. So the idea that the restricted course is on the application is so that the CAO notify those particular colleges that you have applied, and then they're either going to call you for an interview, an aptitude test, or an assessment, etc. And again, one thing that I would say to students for restricted courses, look at the alert lists to see what has the format changed? Like, there won't be in-person interviews, so more than likely it'll be something like a Zoom interview. So yes, you can move it around, but it's important that it's there by the 1st of February, so the CAO can then notify the relevant colleges. Is there a portfolio coming in? Do you need to contact that student, etc.?
Great. We are a bit conscious of time here too as well, guys. So what we might do, we might ask one more question each, myself and Nathan. Nathan will run through a little bit about uni, and thereafter, any other questions, feel free to email Irene afterwards. So there's a very good question here. Is it the same system if you're applying to foreign universities, or is it the same if you're going to Europe, Australia, or America?
If you're applying to foreign universities, there's a company called Uni that help with application to college in Europe. Guy Flock is very helpful in that regard for helping students. Alternatively, students can go on to the UniCast website, look at the details that Guy has put up there, and then they can apply to those universities themselves. In relation to college application to Australia, you do have to go through a universal central application system as well. When I was in Australia, I travelled and looked at some of the universities over there. They have absolutely fantastic facilities, but as an applicant from Ireland, you would be looking at international fees. So it's very important that you're aware of that.
Great. So look, to finish things off, there's one more question here. This is one we had actually been sent in a number of times. A couple of students are worried that they're not doing Irish for a subject in the Leaving Cert, but it's an entry requirement for most college courses. Can I still apply to the CAO?
Yes. If the student has an official exemption from Irish, it is of vital importance that they download the NUI form if they're applying to the main universities, and that they would send that in with a copy of their psychological report to the NUI. If they were born outside of Ireland and therefore they're not doing Irish for that, all they have to do is send in a copy of their birth cert. If they're not doing Irish, but they don't have an official exemption from it, they can apply to the Institutes of Technology that don't require Irish. So they're looking for English, so they don't need Irish for the ITs.
Brilliant. Come here, Irene, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I'm sure you must be wrecked. We've bombarded you with questions there for a while, but thanks. And look, I hope that you all got your questions answered. No, we didn't get around to everything. As Dara was saying, look, if your question hasn't been answered, don't be afraid to get in touch with us. We have social media channels there on Facebook and Instagram. You can drop us a message, or if you have a very specific guidance related question, you can pop that into ask@uni.ie. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to run through, give you guys a quick look at Uni. So Irene mentioned Uni a couple of times there and how the assessment testing can help. So I'm just going to give you a quick idea of that. It won't take too long. I'm conscious of everyone's time. And we did say we'd get you out of here within the hour. So I'm going to share screen here and just show you briefly. So look, Dara mentioned earlier, Uni, what we've developed with Uni is a modern career guidance platform. As you can see here, it's accessible both on a desktop and a mobile. And the idea behind Uni is to make the course choice process more interesting and less intimidating for students. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how you can access Uni. I'm going to tell you what your Uni Fit actually is, how our assessment testing works. And at the end, then we're going to run a quick competition. We're going to give away free access to Uni worth €100 to 2 students. We're going to give you all a discount code for being on the webinar tonight, and then we'll close things off. So just to show you how you actually access Uni, it's nice and simple. You literally pop onto our website. So it's uni.ie. When you're on the website there, you click the Get Started button and you'll be brought through to our platform. Now, I won't go through everything, but you can pop into the platform for free yourself. You can create an account and you can see all these different features here to search courses, fill out a mock CAO, and predict your points. What we're looking at today specifically is the Uni Fit. So when you're ready, you can unlock this, go into your Uni Fit, and at this point, you can run through our assessment testing. So what our technology does is it will analyze your academics, your personality, your career interest, merge these all together to find specific course recommendations and insights personalized to you. So again, there's 3 tests here. It takes about 40 minutes to run through the 3 assessments and generate your results. And I just want to give you guys a preview of what those results actually look like. First of all, you'll get your personality fit report. Within that, we give you a breakdown of your unique personality type. We give you your top 3 personality types. In this case, you can see artistic, thinker, and enterprising. But again, there's a breakdown of all 6 here. You can read into them. We also give you a comparison between your results and others who've done the Uni Fit Assessment. So you can see here 36% of users were also artistic, while 17% were enterprising. And as well as what Darren mentioned earlier, we also give you examples of celebrities and famous people who have the same personality type combination as you. That's a bit of a fan favorite with a lot of students. The next thing we give is your career interest report. So we look at specific career areas, we whittle them down to a top 5, listed from 1 to 5, and recommend them for you specifically. So in this case, you can see they're coming from engineering here, number 1, down to project management. We also list specific career areas at the bottom of the screen here with sample salaries per area. Now, if you want to dig a bit deeper, you can click into the career area. You can find out information about who's working in the space, specific jobs, salary ranges, employers, basically everything you need to know about that area. Now, the final thing, the third report you get after doing your assessment is your course fit report. What we do is we give you your top 5 courses for every college in Ireland. Now, for what I'm showing you here, this is your top 5 level 8 courses in every college. We also give you your top 5 level 6 and 7 courses in every college. And as well as this, we finally give you your top 5 courses overall in the entire country. Now, when these courses appear, what you'll see is you have a percentage fit to each course that's recommended. So again, they're ranked from 1 to 5. You have your overall uni fit percentage, and that's broken into an academic fit, a career fit, and a personality fit. You can then go a step deeper. You can look in to see why you got recommended courses. If you're a guidance counsellor, that allows you to get a bit of data-driven insights behind why students are getting recommended courses. And if you're a student, it just cuts through a lot of the noise there and kind of shows you why you'd actually be suited to specific courses. So look, that's a very brief look at how uni works. Again, if you have any further questions about that afterwards, do get in touch with us, no problem. Tonight, what we're doing is we're offering an exclusive 30% discount code to everybody who's on the webinar right now. Now, that discount code is CAO Uni, all caps. That'll allow you to access uni, run through our 3 assessment tests, and get your 3 unique reports at a discounted price. Now, uni is usually $49.99 to run through 3 assessments. You'll get it for $34.99 between now and Sunday with that code. What happens is when you click unlock, you'll see your page here. And at the bottom left, you can see there's an apply section. So just to show you a zoomed in version, you literally type in CAO Uni here, click apply, and you'll see this gets knocked down to $34.99 for your 3 assessments and your 3 reports. Now, we did promise a competition. So while I've been chatting away here, Dara's been putting all the attendees' names in a hat, jumbling them up, and we're going to pull out 2 lucky winners to get free access for all the assessment testing I just ran through. So Dara, if you want to take it there.
So the 2 winners are Stephen Ryan and Kate Burrows. Congratulations, Stephen and Kate. We'll be in touch with you straight after the webinar.
Fantastic. Well done, guys. We'll send you an email and give you all the instructions to access that and find your unique uni fit. So just to wrap things up, how can uni help you? So look, I know there's a range of different people on the call tonight, whether you're a student, a parent, guidance counsellor, or a school rep. First of all, for students and parents, you can access uni on our website. Again, it's uni.ie, YOONI. Don't forget the discount code, CAO Uni. Pop that in for your 30% discount and you can access that. Again, you can create your account for free, take your time, and then see if you want to run the assessment. You can do that by clicking the unlock button in the platform. If you're a guidance counsellor or you're representing a school, we do group licensing deals. So if you feel like uni could be a valuable resource, particularly now when everyone's doing remote learning, we have a guidance counsellor login platform. That means you can track all your students, you can see their assessments, their predicted points and all that, and it allows you to interact with them without actually being face to face. As well as this, something that we do want to mention, we're always trying to improve uni. So if you are looking at this and you think, actually, you know, I'd love this additional resource, or I'd love if you change this in uni, or there's something I've always wanted in terms of guidance, if you have anything like that, do send it in to us. We'd love to hear that. Any queries like that, send it into hello@uni.ie. Again, we'd really appreciate any feedback in that sense. Look, finally, we're going to send you out a follow-up email. Within the follow-up email, we'll give you, first of all, a recording of the whole webinar. So if there's anything you missed, that'll be in there. You'll be able to see all Irene's slides that were extremely detailed about applying to the CAO, and that'll all be there. We'll also give you just a recap on that discount code, CAO Uni. We'll show you how you apply it, and we'll give you a link to finding your uni fit, again, through the website. Just to wrap things up, I just want to say again, first of all, thanks to everybody for coming. We appreciate your time. I hope you found it valuable. And particularly thank you, Irene. That was a fantastic talk. I know I would have found that so valuable if I was back in the Leaving Cert. It can be quite daunting, not to mention all the things that are going on about the Leaving Cert at the moment with the CAO deadline coming up. So just to kind of have a bit of clarity there, it's really important. And I'm sure everyone will find it very valuable to look back through those slides. So thanks again, Irene. And look, for everybody here, thanks again for coming. I hope you've kind of coming away from this with a bit more knowledge about applying to the CAO and choosing the right college course for you. So see you all soon.